Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalatu salam ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Alayhi wa sallam bikum. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi katuhu. Ikhwani fati fi din wa salamu ala mani tabahuda la ikhwani fati fi Afrika, Europa, America, wa Caribbean, wa kuli makan. To my full-bay community on Darawa and Jambeh. Alhamdulillah, Jamwali. My dear brothers and sisters, I'm hoping that you're doing well. And I'll be starting a new three-part series here in northern Nigeria and the Eastern Jihad corridor. And I'm going to be covering some sensitive topics, as you can see here by the depictions I have here. I will have these in segments for today, and then each day, each time I talk, I will cover a section. But today I'll be covering these sections here, like you see, number 1, number 2 here, number 3. And it's very important because we need to get something straight about what's going on. We have some very major situations. You see in the right-hand corner here, the Muslim North versus the polytheist South. As we know, the South has been, since colonial time and post-colonial, been trying to force polytheism upon the North. This is one of the catalysts to the problems that we have. Even though you have Muslim rulers, but Muslim rulers are not enforcing Sharia or law. They're enforcing polytheism. We know this in the Sharia as shirk billah and kufr. Kufr billah, also you can use that and whatnot under the Sharia. And this is one of the biggest obstacles to peace is this situation here. It's not the opposite of the way around, except in the Western corridor now, the Muslims had enough and they decide they're going to take out the polytheistic governments. And so this is what they're doing. But we're not covering the Western corridor. We're talking about northern Nigeria today. So you see this aspect here, and we'll get more into this as we start to go. And I wanted to greet you and thank you very much for your support. And I'm hoping that you get a chance to see this in my 3-point series talking about northern Nigeria, because it's essentially is extremely important that we understand what the heck's going on and why we have a big divide, and not only that we can't have peace. And we know many of the aspects is covered by the media, but they cover only a small portion of that, and so forth and so on. And I'll speak on something else too, and then I'll start on my slides. There's Islamic conference that just happened. It was a beautiful conference, very, very, a lot of things were said, but it did not offer us any solutions about our problems in northern Nigeria. It was more of a fellowship, and there was agreement between the Muslims and Christians, which is fine, but it has nothing to do with the Muharaba. I'll talk about that, but it has nothing to do with what's going on in the North. That's the problem, because who is suffering is not the Christians, it's the Muslims. So I wanted to get that out. And so with that said, I'll get into this here now. I tell you, one of the things that is really upsetting, to me in a lot of ways is, I'm looking for my notes, brothers and sisters. Oh, here we go. I want to touch on this, and then I'll go to my depiction so we get a better understanding. The northern Nigeria and the Muharaba Abuja's war, and this is a very, very telling situation. The central government of Abuja is at war with northern Nigeria and with the Muharaba. They have made a distinction between the two by choking off one and attacking the other. Choking off, what do you mean? Economically, everything. The North is basically being choked to death. Slowly but surely, the polytheism of the South is trying to basically choke off the Tawheed Allah, which is prevalent in the North. And this is not about bringing justice and security to the North. This is about imposing polytheism on a primary monotheism population. Choking off the population, the poorest per capita is in the North. The less educated and downtrodden is the Muslim North. The most discriminated against, the most aligned is the Muslim North. The infrastructure, loans, prosperity barely reaches northern Nigeria. You still have people living like this in the 1800s. The Muslim North more likely to have their townships and provinces overrun by foreign mercenary actors and downrange bombings. And the Muslims of the North is more likely to face discriminating, killing, and marauding. Muharaba syndicates, drug cartels are most likely allowed to fester in Muslim North with minimal interdiction. The Muslim North suffers from inadequate health care, job opportunities. Instead of putting a school, they put an army post. This is very, very bad. We need schools. We need good schools with good teachers and good education and good prospects. Instead of putting the schools, what they do is they put army base there. We have Islamic institutions, yes, but we should have a lot more of these madrasas to educate our children, but they put army bases instead. Number 5, the violence, unchecked aggression, criminality, and many other malaise is not anomaly, but it's an everyday occurrence in most of Muslim North. So you see that part, brothers and sisters, what we're getting at, and it's very true. The North is suffering. Okay, you have the poorest people in the country is there in the North. You have the less educated is there in the North. I mean, you look at it all the way around. I mean, infrastructure is down. It just things just don't trickle to the North. And then they try to impose polytheism on a Muslim population, and it doesn't work. And then you see what has happened. So we start to get more into this now, and like I was explaining to you here. Okay, where we at here? Yeah, I was trying to explain how these situations has transgressed, and I'm over here trying to get my okay, we got this here, we got those two, and we okay, yeah, we have this situation as you see here. It's very telling, brothers and sisters. This is the map here that really gives you a good indication. You have in the blue here, you have Muslims live in it, yes, and you may even have a Muslim president or prime minister, but he runs more of a secular polytheistic government. To the north in the green, you see the problem. It's mostly majority Muslim. So when you try to throw polytheism on a Muslim population, which a history that stretches back in some parts all the way to the 700s, and you try to force them to become mushrikeen, this is what we actually call this, being a polytheist is a mushrikeen. And this is one of the difficulties on why the northern Nigeria, the Nigeria, Abuja, is fighting northern Nigeria. It's because of polytheism. They want to impose that upon the Muslims. And this is a really, really bad situation, and it's not getting any better. And I'll get into how we got to this point as we go here. And as you see here, the Abuja's war is on northern Nigeria and on the Muharaba or the Muhariba. And this here is, you got on your right, you got the government of Abuja, and then you have over here, you got the northern, Nigeria, and you see here in Arabic here, Muharaba, or Muhariba, excuse me, and this is in Arabic language, and you have these. What are they? I will explain who the Muhariba are, and under the Islamic terminology. Everybody likes to use different terms for what's going on, for bandits, for kidnappers. You heard me, I've changed. I said, look, we're not going to use that. We're going to use what the Nabi alayhi used, talking about people like this. He didn't call them kidnappers or something of this nature like this. He had a term for these type of people who struck terror. And so for like Muhariba is basically that, but this has many meanings. But in this sense, it's a negative connotation. And so that's why, again, we look at the situation, and as you start to envision this now, What is it going to take to bring peace to northern Nigeria? Impossible at this stage. They can't kill off everybody. They just now put. I seen one of the internet newspapers was talking about they have a big campaign going on in the Northwest, and they show howitzers. They show these big cannons they're going to start using, and they're going to be sending bombs downrange, and it'll kill mostly innocent people. This is usually what Abuja does, and it's not going to be able to target the people who they should be targeting. And I'll get into that why they won't be able to do it. But as we look at this situation again, impress on your mind, brothers and sisters, you have the Christian and the Orissa population, traditional religions down south. They want to impose their will on the north, and this is why you have the big disconnect to the point now where you have many people in the south talking crazy. I'll say this, and I'll get back to the pictures again. You know, they're talking about one of our famous grand elders, a sheikh. I'm gonna give his name. Everyone know what happened. He made a comment the other day by calling the Christians infidels, mushrikeen. All these are correct terms. It's not like calling them a bad name. This is the terms we know them under Islamic law. What I was dismayed about this is that we have many Muslims now jumping on the media circuit to go after the Sheikh Islam. And I don't like that, because why? They've been quiet. You have hundreds and hundreds of comments coming from the South. Many of them are genocidal. Kill the Muslims in the North. Have the Americans come kill the Muslims in the North. We should start assassinating the ulama there in the North. You have all these comments, even comments on TV that are genocidal, meaning to erase the Muslims in the North. Those guys who are talking now in the media had nothing to say. Suddenly, one Muslim Grand Sheikh was ill-advised. I'm not going to say that. Because if I'm going to talk to my brother, I'm going to talk to him in private. I'm not going to get into the Christian news services and go after him. I will not do that. But our brothers did do this. And I asked the question myself. I said, why don't you go after the Christians who are genocidal? Some said they want to kill Sheikh Gumi and Sheikh Bala and so forth. They want to do all this type of thing. They want to go and kill the Muslims in the North. But yet and still, they go quiet. And this is why I have a problem with that. So with that said, we will go more into the forums, brothers and sisters, as we get into looking at the situation and what it's going to come to. Again, brothers and sisters, I have to reiterate something that is very, very important, and I'm going to get into this realm, and we'll get deeper into it. And I believe in time we're going to have problems, and I'm firmly believe, brothers and sisters, that it's going to come a time now that the North is going to have enough, and they're going to go after the South. Meaning not in a jihad. No, I don't mean that way, but in sense that they're going to go after them we're going to have to create a different state and whatnot. And this is what I believe that is going to happen. We look at this, and I showed this picture the other day. One of the reasons, brothers and sisters, that the Muharaba will not be there. If you look in the right hand, if you go to your left, you'll start going to near Niger, okay? You go to your left. They're starting a campaign right now. What's going to happen with the Mujahideen group who is there fighting now? They'll go up to the north, brothers and sisters. This is why I don't know what the heck the Nigerian government is thinking. I don't know what they're thinking. They have bombs they're going to send. They're going to have aerial bombs dropped everywhere. And what are these guys going to do? They're going to leave from their region over in the north to our left and go across into Niger, into the transition area. Transition area meaning from the savannah to the Sahara. They're going to do this. So we won't be able to kill them. So what's going to happen? Abuja is going to bomb the northwest, which is our left hand over here in our left-hand corner of as we look at the map on the screen. They're going to send bombs downrange. Who are they going to kill? They'll kill many herders, their families, and then they'll say that they just kill a whole bunch of mujahideen. But when the news services go up there, they'll find Women, children, old men have been killed. Animals have been slaughtered. This is what has happened. The Mujahideen will leave the region to our left here, and move upwards into Niger, into the transition area, and that's why it's going to make it very impossible for them to actually do something. And the Council of 40, this I'm gonna cover here as well. Brothers and sisters, I'm going to touch on this now. What you see here, brothers and sisters, is the weaponry that will be used if and when the Council of 40 is enacted in the north. The brothers, the ulama, they get tired of what's going on in Abuja, and they finally get off their rear ends and form the Council of 40 and inform our own patrols, like our ancestors did in the 1400s, in the 1500s, in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s. We had our own patrol. The difference is we didn't have the AK-47, we didn't have the 45 pistol, but we had the machete. This baby here in the center here has a long history stretching back to the 700s. You ask the Visigoths, the modern day Spaniards, when they came across the Fulani in battle, they had the sword, but they talked about a short blade that they had no defense for. Our Fulani brothers, the Mujahideen, when they invaded Andalus in 711, used this, the machete in the center. They used this. And this is effective weapon. It's in between a sword and a knife. It's in between that. And when you wield it good, it's almost impossible to defend against. Even a big sword have a problem because it's a shorter, quicker blade. It can cut through leather, everything like this. And it was very effective. And this is why this situation is fluid, and why we have to look at it from a standpoint. Again, now we talked about the transitional zone. Here is, again, a short picture of that. Again, putting the impressions in your mind. The transition zone is where they're hiding, brothers and sisters. This is why they can't catch these guys. They run into this transitional zone here. But the brothers who will be carrying this, the patrol, which I will introduce, they will in turn have this, and they'll be able to deal with them because of there's some things you heard me talk about. They already have the divine favor from Allah. They know the territory. And when these brothers get involved, now you're going to have some problems. Right now, these Muharaba having a good time. Okay, essentially, they're having a good time. They go about themselves. I'm just getting ahead of myself. I'm just showing some pictures, but I want to show you something. This depiction here gives you an indication why I'm telling you you have a problem with Abuja. Here you got some here, Muharaba, right over to the right. They have no fear of the military. They have no fear of them. Here's the military going. They are inept and poorly trained. And in a lot of ways, it's not their fault because the money is earmarked to the government before it gets even to the military, only small parts. The rest of the money, where does it go? Into the pockets of criminals, okay? And the government who steal the money, okay? They steal the money. Now, you look over here to your right. These brothers here laughing at them. These are some of the Muharaba right here to your right, okay? And these guys pass by them because they know in certain circumstances, these guys get into a firefight with them, somebody could die. And these guys here have no fear of the military. But brothers and sisters, but I'm going to show you something who they will have fear of. I had these guys marked off and I don't see where they, but that's okay. I will get that. I will go back to that. I'm going to show you who they would fear, brothers and sisters, because there is an element that they do have fear about. And I will introduce them to you now, because these brothers are no joke, and they will be able to deal with these guys and whatnot. And like I said, we will see this in short time. Here we go here. This is where we at, brothers and sisters. Right here. The patrolmen, this is what we have. If you look, these brothers here will be after the Muharaba. They will fight them, and they will fight them to the death. Instead of you selling military down there, because it's not going to do any good, these guys will target the criminals. The military target the incident and the innocent and lie and put in a report they just killed 200 insurgents when they killed 200 like they did the other day here a month ago. So they dropped those bombs, killed over 200 Fulani families, cattle. They killed people in the marketplace. They weren't insurgents. They were primarily innocent people. These guys will not be attacking because they are Fulani and they are Tuareg. Okay, so they're not going to be attacking their brothers. They're going to go after the Muharaba. Okay, Muharaba. That's who they're going to be going after. And when the Council 40 is formulated, these patrolmen here will have distinctions of who is what. Over to your far north is your left here, in the blue here is your Tuareg, the Afro-Arabs, and many of them are black, and many, of course, you know, they're mixed. They're half black and half Arab and so forth and so on. I gave a class on this. I won't do that today. But they'll be patrolling the northern tier, okay, in the transition region. Over here in the center are our Fulani brothers here. They will be going after the savannah. And you see the weaponry, the AK-47, you see the machete, and then you see the pistol. Then over here to your right are also Fulani, but we may have other ethnic groups who qualify as the Hezbollah. They'll be trained to enforce the Sharia law. This way, we'll have a coordinated effort. We have our own security, and that way we'll stop this stuff. When a cattleman, herdsman come to the Sharia court, they'll say, look, I have a problem here. The Hezbollah here in the green will be going there to investigate. This is the way it should be. Right now, our brothers don't have nobody to assist them. So they have their cattle taken from them. Nobody can assist them. And this is why we have a problem. And again, here in Kano shows the Sharia court. And here, these brothers here, this is going to come a time, brothers and sisters, when these guys here will be activated. And these are rough, tough men. Okay, and they are good at hand-to-hand combat. When they use this machete here, it's no defense for it, especially at close quarters. There's no defense for this weapon, and the Fulani are good at this. The Tuareg also learned this from the Fulani. They also carry this machete-type knife. It's in between a sword and a regular like house knife, but it's in between the two. But it's deadly, especially in areas, especially when you're in the Savannah region and the Sahara, and you fighting against these guys. They have no defense for this. There's no defense. Even if you use the weapon to block it, you can still hit the AK-47. You can hit to a degree to knock it off the man's hand, or you can knock it away from it, and then at the same motion you can use to cut the man and so forth and so on, which I won't go deeper into that. But you get the drift where I'm going at. These guys will be employed, inshallah ta'ala bi'ifnillah, and we'll stop all of this crap that's going on in the north. Because the president, even though he's a Muslim, the brother he's misguided. He thinks that sending 28,000 troops is going to do something. It's not going to do anything, brothers and sisters, because reason why, as you heard me say, what is going to happen is that the northern tier is not being held, and this is the problem. As we go, they run into the traditional areas and they go north, and it's over, and they won't be able to find them. And I keep going over this map, brothers and sisters, because this is indicative. Polytheism. The modern Christian today he's not a monotheist because he's polytheist. And this element here it don't work. We have Tawheed Allah in the north. Okay? We cannot accept polytheism. We cannot. This is a major, major, major problem. Even though they have a Muslim president and maybe a vice president and some cabinet members, but they are promoting polytheism. They're not promoting Tawheed Allah, and we have this distinction, and that's the problem. I'll get to some of my notes, and then we'll again cover some of the other pictures that I have. What is the Muharaba? It is a Islamic term, okay, a legal term talking about drive from a root from warfare hostility, but refers to armed rebellion, highway robbery, acts of terror. This is the key. What is the guys doing today? Kidnapping and so forth. This is a form of terror that spread chaos and threatens the safety of society. The Nabi, alayhi, he had a prescription for them, and it was bloody. Okay, bottom line, he had zero tolerance for them because their acts terrorize the safety of the society. I don't want to call these guys terrorists. I'm not going to call them kidnappers. I won't call them the other words that everybody's talking about them. They're actually muhariba, and that's what we know them under the Sharia law. If they're brought before the Sharia court, this is what they will be termed at. They won't be called you're a kidnapper, you're this, you muhariba. Bottom line, the manufactured threat. This is the key, brothers and sisters. These guys were created essentially by the government. That's right. Because why? Because of what happened in the security agreement with the Americans, this recreated these guys. See, and because of what they did, the Americans gave money. They went to the north to fight the Fulani, and what happened is they developed armed syndicates and militant groups, and they were artificially cultivated, encouraged, which they were allowed to gain recruits, and they were allowed to get guns and so forth. And then the corrupted this not only this all the way through West Africa, even North Africa to a large degree is involved in this. And the corrupted political framework caused Muhariba. This is what actually did it. The terror economy. This is also the part. Rather than organic grassroots movements, these syndicates function as instruments of geopolitical gain. Now, the West saw that they created the monster. They said, okay, now we got a monster. Now we both can make money. The security apparatuses inside the United States go to Congress. Congress allocates billions of US dollars. Okay, now the West then turns to Nigeria, Ghana, Togo, the Gambia, Liberia. You go across Mali, all the way across, and each one has the same problem. Each one gets millions of this money, and it usually falls into the pockets of corrupted politicians. This is what we talk about here. The fear factor. Ultimately, the Muhariba stands as a warning to the elite. The architects of the strategy lost control of the forces. They thought that they would just create a few of them here and there. Everybody make money. They'll go play with them for a little while. And each time, every month, every 6 months, you get millions of dollars, and it's it. But it exploded, brothers and sisters. They did not know it was going to do what it's done now. And this is why they can't control it. What was meant to be controlled, managed, pretext for foreign aid and domestic control has splintered to a raging insurgency. This is what is bad. I'll get this here and then I'll stop, go up to the pictures. The elusive Muharaba, Muhariba, has shattered into constellations of, we have so many groups, 20 here, 40 here, 100 here, 200 here, 60 here, another 80 over here. You can't, militarily, you can't defeat it all because there's too many of them. That's why, brothers and sisters, you understand why I want our own force, because we'll be able to deal with these constellations of splintered factions, because our people will be trained for that. And they will go in and they'll get arrested or they'll get liquidated. They have a choice. Either if they say, okay, I'm going to drop my weapons, they'll get arrested and they'll taken to the Sharia court. But if they don't drop their weapons, then they're going to be liquidated in a firefight and then close quarter combat, because these brothers will be equipped to have the weapons to fight, but then their expertise will be in the short range contact, meaning they come within meters of the enemy And then at this time, it's all over because they say you ain't surrendering. It's over, and they'll have to deal with that bush knife, that machete, and no one wants to deal with that because it's almost indefensible, brothers and sisters. You can't defend yourself with this blade. The Fulani created this blade, and the Spaniards can tell you they were scared of it. They talked about it for over 300 years, talked about this blade. And then in the 1000s, they fought these guys again, and they talked about this blade, the machete, how they turned the battle. When they came in to fight them, they fought with the sword, but then they had the machete also. A lot of times they would put the sword up and they would use the machete, and machete would come because it's so at this the way it is generated. You have a lot of speed, and according to the angle, you can imagine you have leather. It cuts right through the leather. So even when he comes down on you, you have leather to protect the skin. It cut through that right into to our skin. It's a deadly weapon, and so forth. And our brothers will be equipped with that. So I'll go back to the pictures to talk more about our situation and whatnot. And we'll show our brothers. I want to show you a camp, how some of the I don't see the camp here. Boy, that's very, no, it's not there. Boy, I don't see my camp. I had a camp that had the Muharaba, their camps and so forth and so on. I don't have that. But I'm gonna cover something here to talk to you, and I want to show you this here. Now you understand. You get a depiction how the money came from the Americans, in particular, into Nigeria. You see how it's funneled. This is the cause of why we have Muharaba. This is it here. The money is thrown into the system, millions and millions and millions. They create insurgencies so the cronies in the government can make their money. The Americans make money. The Nigerian government make money. The people suffer. This is the system that we have here. And this is why this situation is out of control. Now you understand. Abuja is not looking to make peace in the north. Abuja is continuing the insurgency because as the insurgents rev up more up there, more money is poured into the government. That's why only a little bit reaches to the military. Rest of the money stays in Abuja, and it finds it into offshore accounts of many, many, many politicians and elite families. See, this is what happens. And this insurgency just keeps going. As the insurgency goes, so comes the money. If the insurgency stops, the cronies are not paid anymore. See, you understand now what's going on? This is a manufactured war against the North. It's a manufactured war because they know that if they force polytheism on the brothers in the North, they knew they were going to get an insurgency. Because a brother who sits there and says, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, he says this. Suddenly you come to him and tell him, no, we don't want you to follow Subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't want you to hold your allegiance to Nabi alayhi salam. We want you to be polytheistic. That brother's going to fight you. They know that. The Americans knew that too. The government knew that because it's a colonial-based government. They knew that. So they said, hey, look, we go push the Fulani up to the north, and then we'll get what we want. They pushed, and the Fulani fought back, trickled in the money. This is what happens, brothers and sisters. This is what has actually, transpired. I wanted to show the Muharaba camp. I don't know what happened to it, brothers and sisters. I had one depiction of a camp, and what happened to it, I don't know, because it's strange how it left out. But I had this to show you a camp, but we don't here. Let me see. This is one thing. Here it is. Yeah. Okay. Now, brothers and sisters, we get to the basis of this. The Muharaba will have camps. The military can't find them. Why? This is the transition region that I'm talking about. To your right starts the Sahara, okay? To your left is the savannah. This is how they escape. See, this is how they escape the bombing and the attacks in northern Nigeria. What they do is they make their raid, they run to the north and hide into the transition regions, which is very difficult to find them. But our patrol will be able to find them like they did here. See, now they're negotiating with them because they're telling them, say, look, we got you surrounded. You drop your arms, we'll take you back to the Sharia court. See, if they don't drop their arms, they're going to take them out. And this is what you see here. I wanted to show you this, how lucrative the Muharaba, their camps are. They steal cattle, they steal cars, they steal weapons, they steal many things from the infrastructure. And what do? They go up into the transitional region and they stay there and they sell the goods. Now you understand why this business is bad. It's a financial thing. It's not about security and terrorism. That's a BS. These kind of camps like this, the Muharaba make millions from this. Okay? They buy weapons and everything. You think, well, nobody's gonna buy it. Yes, it is. There's international buyers, brothers and sisters. There's a market for this. The cattle right here, you see here. A lot of times the Muharaba, they will slaughter the cattle and they'll have dry meat. They'll sell that meat, just like the Fulani do. And also they will use the meat to feed their troops. See, this is why this business is very lucrative and why these guys are hard to detect, because they're in the north. Now you got to kind of understanding, brothers and sisters, about this, okay? And I'll cover some more notes, and then I'll get back to pictures, and I'll be closing. I want to cover something, brothers and sisters. We talked about the Muharaba and so forth and so on, and why they are effective, meaning why we can't defeat them, because their tactics. The military is too slow. That's the bottom line, brothers and sisters. They're just too slow. And they're splintered off. They run to the north and it's over. And they run past their jurisdiction and so forth. And then the syndicates, as you heard me talk about, what is the blueprint to eradication of them? It's the introduction of the Sahara Savannah Patrol, SSP, brothers and sisters. This is what is going to take them out, because they operate with a deep regional expertise. They don't have borders. See, so when the Muharaba runs to the transitional period between area between the Sahara and the Savannah, our boys, our men here, the SSP, will be able to go there and get them. They can intercept them. They can track them. Because why? They have the metaphysics of the region. They know the region, so they can track them, and it'd be hard for them to avoid detection. This is what is going to defeat them, not downrange bombing, dropping bombs in marketplaces like the military do, or drop a bomb on a farm or a grazing region. That's not going to cut it. You have to have a mobilized force who knows the land, and they understand the metaphysics, and they know how to go after these guys. This frontier defense replaces the rigid, slow-moving military, which we see today. Here, they get ready to attack our brothers in the north. They go have a media circus. So our brothers know now they're coming. So what are they going to do? They'll do what they got to do. They'll make some raids, and then they go to the north and hide. See? But our brothers here will be able to find them, and they will engage them. That's the key. They will engage them. Either you drop the weapons, because this is Islamic also. You remember the Sunnah of the Nabi alayhi salam, you have three conditions about that. You can come to Islam, okay? You come to Islam, but in this sense, most of them are already Muslims, so this don't apply. But this is for education for many people we have forgotten about. Or you pay a tax, okay? If you don't do either one, then hey, it's on. It's a fight between me and you, and that's the bottom line, and that's how that goes. But securing the border again, this SSP will be able to dismantle this situation. But in order for us to win, we have to dismantle the economy, brothers and sisters. Abuja, that's why they will fight against us. They will not want you to fight. They will not want you to intervene in this economy. They're making millions. When the Americans send 30 million every 6 months, and that money goes where? They're not going to want our brothers in Kano or Kaduna or the Council Authority to come down to go after them for that. They're going to fight them because this money is too lucrative. They need the insurgency to keep the money going. See, this is the part why it's going to be difficult to stop this situation. And then here, I want to show you something, and I'll get into that. The tactical isolation. The SSP will isolate these syndicates. They know what to do because they're trained. They're desert warriors. They know how to fight in the desert. They know how to fight in open regions that the military don't have the personnel for that. They don't have the metaphysics for that. SSP have the metaphysics of the Sahara, so they know what to do. They know how to close off the corridors. Our military don't understand what the corridors are. All they know is to send a bomb downrange. All they know is to send troops into a city and they start shooting anyone who's Fulani. That's what they know. See? And that's why we have the problem. And the tactical assessment, they have this situation and they have it down. I'll get to the pictures, then I will close here to show you something. I want to give you the indication how our brothers will be able to find the Muharaba and find them and deal with them. I want to show you a map, brothers and sisters, how this situation will be rendered and how it'll be effective. Here is, I'm giving you a blueprint. Okay, this is only a blueprint of how it be. My talks are not designed to help the Americans or help Abuja in this sense. I'm not helping the Americans because they're mushrikeen. Abuja, we have Muslims there in it, but this is designed because we want to bring peace. But we can't bring peace because Abuja will not have peace because it's making too much money off the Americans. They will not. You see here to your right, this is the land of the Kanuri. In the red, to your right, here. These guys here, even Sheikh Gumi asked the question, who is going to engage them? Who's going to go talk to them? I know from what I've read about them, and I know what I've seen some of the communiques, they're very adamant about who they will allow to talk to them. They won't even talk to Sheikh Gumi, and I believe Sheikh Bala. There's a whole bunch of the ulama they will not speak with. I won't get into why they will not. They made allegations against them. I'm not going to entertain that because I'm not there to defend it or say it's true. I have no way of knowing. But how we do here is this. The Northern Nigeria Security Theater. This is a theater now because it's a war zone. The armed actors and operational challenges. Here you see the map is self-explanatory. To your right, they're isolated. You notice there's no patrol regions there. The SSP is smart. The SSP will, in time, when it's time to go after the Boko Haram and all the other splinter groups in the land of Kanuri, what they'll do is they'll have the place surrounded. They'll know exactly what to do. And they'll be surrounded by these very, very vicious herdsmen and Tuareg that will deal with them. There's time for for prayer today. I will show this again and then go to the last part and I'll close. our brothers here will be going after the Boko Haram, inshallah, BFD. And we want our brothers to come to the table. Here, our brothers here is not talking to bring them to the table to be polytheists. No, they'll bring them back to the Sharia, and we will have something where we'll have some concessions from Abuja. We hope this will happen. But you can rest assured, now you understand why Abuja will not entertain, because Abuja will not stop that money from coming in. It's too much money. They know that. So our frontiermen here, the SSP, these are the people here. The SSP are going to have a tough time in a sense. They won't have to fight our guys, our Kanuri brothers, and have to fight them. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is, because then we have to bring them back to the Sharia. We don't bring them to Abuja. No, we bring them to the Sharia, because no, we will not take the Muslim, because we have a thing, Muslim aku Muslim. We will not take our Muslim brothers and bring them to the kuffar. We will not. We will not do that. And we will not take our brothers down to Abuja where they be tried in a polytheistic court. Yes, they are wrong. We understand they are wrong. Even the Muharaba, they're wrong. Yes, they are. But we will not allow them to be put before a polytheist. This is the way it should be. We will bring them to the Sharia court. The Sharia court is fair and is just in its punishments. See, this is what we want to do. This is my recommendation. Okay, this is my recommendation that we should do. And I'll get to this part here, what it's going to come to, and then I'll close. The Council of 40 brothers and sisters are going to have a tough time. And we're going to have to really buckle down, to be honest with you. And I believe we will be able to do this. And let's get into that. The Council of 40, this is one of the Modibo here. Outside this, here we will be bringing the Muharaba to the Sharia court. See, this is what we're going to be doing. We're not taking to Abuja. We're taking, because they're Muslims. Muslims should be tried in a Muslim court. Even though we understand that Nigeria is quote unquote a secular state, but the secular state doesn't cover the North, because the North is not secular. It's Tawhid Allah. So when you capture your brother, you bring your brother before a judge who also is under Tawhid Allah. You don't bring your brother to a polytheist. You just don't. See, you just don't. I'm going to cover this, and I'm going to tell you, this is going to come to this, brothers and sisters. The first of this is the Council of 40 will start to deal with the politicians from the South. This is going to get nasty, because the politicians to the South here are well fed from American money. Politicians over here to your right have American money in their pockets. Our brothers to the left are not receiving this money. They don't want it, because their favor is their fine favor they're seeking from Allah. They're not seeking nothing from the Americans or from the British or anybody else, because they know this is haram and kufr under the Sharia. Our brothers over here to the right, some are Muslims, but here we have Christians as well. So now we're going to have the debate here, and this debate is going to be nasty. And it's going to come a time that the Council of 40, they will have it up and running, and they're going to be very powerful. To the point, oh man, okay, here we go. To the point, you have the mayor show up at the parliament to go down south. We don't trust nobody in the north. Since the north is the south, the south is making genocidal comments against the Muslims. The Council of 40 will never send dignitaries down there without elite bodyguards like this from the SSP. I can see this happening, brothers and sisters. Can you envision this? They go down to the parliament. When the Council of 40 come to talk, they will have their own security forces, because they could be assassinated down south. They should not trust the security system in the south. I see this happening, where the emir of the Council of 40 comes to talk to the president or come to talk to the parliament, they'll be protected by the SSP. This is what I envision is going to happen. He gets off the airplane. You see the emirs coming, and behind him is the Madibo. All leads to Tawheed Allah. And then you'll see the security apparatus around them. These brothers here are no joke. As you hear me say all the time, these brothers here will take you out. They will fight anybody and anything that try to come after our Council 40. They will not tolerate that. I don't care if it's the military. They will fight them. See, because they'll be commissioned to do this. It's going to come to that. So when the Council 40 begins to come down to Abuja, they'll have their own security forces, which I believe they should have. I would not trust the security apparatuses there in Abuja. They're too corrupted. You don't know who's been paid off. Suddenly we have the emir coming, and then all of a sudden there's no security because he's been paid off, and then he's assassinated. I can see that. Or one of our Medivals here dressed in these beautiful agbadas here with the Quran in their hand. We ain't going to have that. So the Council 40 will have its own security, and these will be elite fighters here. These brothers here are well-versed in dealing with you in the AK-47 or small arms, or they use machete. I can see this happening, brothers and sisters. I can also see this coming down. The Council 40 will come to meet with the president, and they will discuss. And this will be a friendly discussion because these are two powerful men here. But you notice something about this where we don't trust. We'll have our brothers here to the left protecting the Amir. We're not trying to accuse the president of Nigeria of anything wrong. No. His government is so big, just like the American government. It has so many departments, he can't control everything. See, and he's a good man. Okay, we have to say that he's a good man. He may not, yes, he's not run Sharia law, but he's not a criminal and he's not a bad man. And he will meet with the emir of the Council 40, and this I can envision to see, and I can see this happening, friendly conversation while they discuss the matters at hand. And I believe this will be the case, brothers and sisters, inshallah ta'ala, bi'ifnillah, because we have to do something. But now you understand why we can't stop the insecurity in the north. It's too much money coming to Abuja. Abuja is making too much money off the Fulani. They're making too much money off the Kanuri. They're making too much money off the Muharaba. They're making too much money off that. When you have millions upon millions poured in to the economy from the Americans alone, that money is the Americans say, look, I'm giving you 30 million every 6 months. I need you to go to the north to earn that money. And they're doing that. Now you understand, brothers and sisters, why the situation is at the dire straits that it is. They're not going to stop the insurgency because if they want to stop it, they would do it right. The brothers who are Muharaba will run right up to the north to escape all of this. They'll wait there until everything comes down, then they'll come back down south again and go back to their normal activities. But if we have a Council 40, we'll be able to deal with these brothers. We're going to bring them to the Sharia court, and we'll start to bring them back into society, those we feel are able to do this. And if the Qadi agrees to this. Others, unfortunately, they probably will die in gun battles and hand-to-hand combat fights when they're discovered and so forth and so on. They will then most likely have to be liquidated. And that's just the way it is because they're decided to fight it out, which we know many of them will do. And the SSP will be commissioned to fight you and you know, to bring you in because we have rules under, and I'll cover that in another segment. We have rules about surrender. We can't kill the people who have surrendered. There's certain protocols to that. And our SSP are strong Muslims, so they know they cannot kill someone who surrendered. Those who do not surrender, they fight them, and if it comes to the point where they have to kill them, that's just the way it is, and so forth and so on. But they're commissioned to do this. And I hope today, brothers and sisters, I gave you a good indication of what's going on there. I'll show you one more thing, and then I will close. I want to make this a good impression to you to get you to understand why the situation is bad, why we're not going to be able to stop the insurgency. because of the corruption of the state and whatnot. And this is one again why I'm talking about the situation. This is very obvious. You see it here. This recap real fast. You see my talk today, and I will have two more segments of this at another time. And you see why this situation is so fluid. It's very dangerous. Now you have an understanding, and you see the Abuja as if they're at war with our brothers in the north. There's no doubt. They're fighting the population and they're fighting the Muharaba. They're fighting them as well. And this is why the situation, we will not be able to quell it. And this, again, the Sharia court, and I will be closing here, the Sharia court, why it's important that we have this system, because we have a good system. You see the field operations here, people are arrested, they're brought to holding centers, and then they're brought before the tribunals who do investigation as well. And then, of course, as you see all the way down the line, they'll be into the court system and whatnot. Here, this is all Muslims, see, who will be instructing. This is not the mushrikeen trying to come after the Muslims' Tawheed. We're not going to have that bullshit. Excuse my French. We won't have that. Okay, we're not going to tolerate that. But they'll be here in a system where Tawheed Allah is remembered, and so forth and so on and whatnot. This is a 2-year implementation phase and establishing the rule of law. And I'm hoping, brothers and sisters, this is, again, a recommendation where I'm not saying it's been implemented. I'm only, because I'm on the outside looking in. I've been in contact with some talking about this issue of the Council 40. Now you see which way I'm going. I'm trying to bring peace. I know I can only do what I can do. And I only ask that Subhanahu wa ta'ala grants me this divine favor, and that our brothers adopt this, and at least we'll quell 80% of the problem. And the other part of the 20% will go to Abuja, because Abuja making the money, and that's the big problem. How are we going to stop that? How can we ask them not to take the Americans' money anymore? We cannot, because too many people are being fed from that money, meaning not fed to public. The public don't see this money. The politicians see this money. See, and for us to ask them to stop it, they're mushrikeen. And even though they say they're Muslims, but they enforce the laws of the mushrikeen, they're not going to stop receiving that money. See, that's the key. So with that said, brothers and sisters, I will end it here. We have another segment of this. So stay tuned to the other segments and whatnot. And I'm hoping that you enjoy this. Please subscribe to me. You can catch me on Facebook, of course, and you review this and subscribe and whatnot. And this gives you some food for thought. And if you have people that you know in northern Nigeria, you can talk about this plan to them, spread this, force our ulama to start to adopt this program, so that way we'll have one voice. All of northern Nigeria will count on our Council 40 to go and deal down south to bring money and bring opportunity to the north. We will get some concessions from the south once we're unified in the north. Once we get the unification, we'll get concessions down the south, because they will have to. They will have to give us some concessions, and we'll see a better way of life for our people in Muslim North than we see today. So with that said, Assalamu alaikum, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.